This is coal. Don't be afraid. Don't be scared.
The Treasurer knows the rule on crops.
It's coal.
Scott Morrison has become a lot more cautious about his enthusiasm for coal since 2017, much more so than former Deputy Prime Minister Barnaby Joyce. As Prime Minister, he is seeking to walk the middle road between the coalition's warring factions on climate change and energy.
Gas has a critical role to play as a backstop. Sweating our existing coal-fired power generation assets will only take us so far.
Key thing from my perspective is that the Commonwealth shouldn't be in the business of building or funding a new coal-fired power station.
Look, I can't see how the bushfires could be caused by the coal mines. Honest to God, I cannot see that.
Coal has become something of a rallying point for Barnaby Joyce's supporters after his unsuccessful bid to snatch the leadership of the Nationals last week. Matt Canavan today said renewables were the dole bludgers of the energy system, while George Christensen blasted inner-city Liberal MPs for talking down the prospect of government-backed coal-fired power stations. And there's been another casualty from last week's failed leadership coup.
And a blow for the coalition, with Nationals MP Lou O'Brien quitting the party after a heated argument with the party leader Michael McCormack.
Are you able to confirm for us that Lou O'Brien has quit the Nats?
No, I can't confirm that.
Incredibly sad. Lou is, we want to keep him the team, former Vice President of the LNP, person who's so many years' experience.
O'Brien is the Queensland MP who called the spill motion in the first place. He's leaving the Nationals, but he says he's staying in the joint party room and he will continue to support the government. One of the great ironies of such a non-resignation resignation is that if there were to be another Nationals leadership vote, O'Brien presumably wouldn't be able to take part, which means one less vote for Barnaby Joyce.
We will now proceed to a ballot.
But at least one person in the coalition was voting for Lou O'Brien today. The government was humiliated when O'Brien accepted a Labor nomination for Deputy Speaker to run against the government's nomination of Damien Drum and won 75 to 67.
Hereby declare Mr O'Brien elected.
A visit from the Indonesian president meant former Prime Minister Malcolm Turnbull was in Parliament House and was happy to offer some advice of his own.
Those people who are advocating that the government should fund coal-fired power are basically making a case for higher emissions and higher energy prices, and that is nuts.
But it is not just the coalition that has internal tensions over the future of coal.
I'm asking if industry decided to build a coal-fired power station, would you be happy with that or would you block that?
Ultimately, this is a matter for the market.
While the debate rages about coal, both sides of politics are under pressure from the centre to actually do something about climate change after our summer of catastrophic weather. Zali Steggall, the MP who defeated Tony Abbott at the last election, has launched a push for a new Climate Change Act, which she says is aimed at finally achieving some bipartisanship on climate change.
The objects of the Act are to address climate change and to keep global warming down to 1.5, as close to 1.5 degrees as possible.
But it doesn't actually say how you go about that or what the targets are.
Because that's the first point of criticism everyone has across different parties, is you start criticising the mechanism. This is about prescribing that there be accountability and transparency.
Steggall and her crossbench colleagues are proposing the establishment of a new Climate Change Commission, which would inform the government and taxpayers about the impact of climate change on the various regions of Australia and what could be done to fix it. The proposal would involve a few ideas which these days seem radical: that the cost of not acting on climate change is greater than the cost of acting, that we need to re-establish an Australian voice of evidence-based authority on climate change, and that there needs to be bipartisanship on the issue. How do you propose going about this?
This is a matter of security for all Australians. This is not a matter of party politics. Well, it's been a matter of party politics for too long. I think this has to be elevated to a matter of principle, where all MPs can be free to represent their electorates.
Bipartisanship may seem a very unlikely outcome, but we have already seen a number of Liberal MPs pushing back against the Nationals over coal. And Steggall believes that, like same-sex marriage, circumstances and people power could eventually prevail. A website has been set up to facilitate people petitioning their local MPs to move on climate change, particularly in the bush. Labor and the Greens, for now, are politely saying they look forward to talking to the crossbench about the idea. The government is being polite too, saying it will consider locking in a target of zero emissions by 2050, a sign it's watching the crossbench development warily.
Hi, I'm Lee Sales. Thanks for watching this story. If you'd like to watch more of 730's stories, they are on the left of your screen. And tap on the button below to subscribe and get the latest from ABC News.